Did you know for American Beauty, when Lester throws the asparagus, he was supposed to throw it on the floor? The reactions of Annette Bening and Thora Birch are genuine. 2. Director Sam Mendes designed the two girls' look to change over the course of the film, with Thora Birch gradually using less makeup and Mina Suvari gradually using more, to emphasize his view of their shifting perceptions of themselves. 3. Kevin Spacey improvised everything he does in the car while his character is under the influence and singing to American Woman. 4. According to his Oscar speech, screenwriter Alan Ball was sitting at the World Trade Center Plaza when he saw a paper bag floating in the wind and was inspired by it to write the film, which was originally conceived as a stage play. 5. The title of the film refers to a breed of roses that, while pretty and appealing in appearance, is often prone to rot underneath at the roots and branches of the plant. Thus, the tagline "Look Closer" tells the viewer that when they look beyond the perfect suburban life, they will find something rancid at the root. 6. Jake Gyllenhaal and Seth Green auditioned for the role of Ricky Fitz. Did you know for The Silence of the Lambs, Jodie Foster claims that during the first meeting between Dr. Hannibal Lecter and Clarice Starling, Sir Anthony Hopkins's mocking of her southern accent was improvised on the spot. Foster's horrified reaction was genuine since she felt personally attacked. She later thanked Hopkins for generating such an honest reaction. 2. In preparation for his role, Sir Anthony Hopkins studied files of serial killers. Also, he visited prisons and studied convicted murderers, and was present during some court hearings concerning gruesome murderers and serial killings. 3. After Lecter was moved from Baltimore, the plan was to dress him in a yellow or orange jumpsuit. Sir Anthony Hopkins convinced director Jonathan Demme and costume designer Colleen Atwood that the character would seem more clinical and unsettling if he was dressed in pure white. Hopkins has since said he got the idea from his fear of dentists. 4. At 24:52 of screen time, Sir Anthony Hopkins's performance is the second shortest to win an Academy Award for Best Actor in a leading role, just behind David Niven and Separate Tables at 23:39. In terms of percentage of runtime, Hopkins is the shortest, as he only appears in 21% of the film. Did you know for The Lost Boys, this was Corey Haim and Corey Feldman's first film together, which marked the start of a popular 1980s trend, the two Coreys, in which Feldman and Haim starred together in a number of teenage films. 2. The new location of the Atlantis Fantasy World comic book store, which was featured in the film, is owned by Joe Ferrara II, who still carries the original #1 issue of Vampires Everywhere that Sam reads in the film. The comic was created only for the film, and its opening page is signed by all of the cast members from the movie. The owner, Joe Ferrara II, allows any shopper to hold it and take a photo with it free of charge. 3. Every year at the landmark, Santa Cruz Beach Boardwalk in Santa Cruz, California, this film is screened as part of the park's free summer movie series. Beachgoers may bring outdoor furniture and supplies to watch after sunset. Many features of the town shown can still be recognized, most notably the rides and games of the boardwalk itself. 4. Corey Haim later characterized his experience on the shoot as one of the greatest personal times in my life. 5. Filming began on June 2, 1986 and ended on June 23, 1986 after 21 days of filming. Did you know for Raiders of the Lost Ark, the famous scene in which Indy shoots a marauding and flamboyant swordsman was not in the original script? Harrison Ford was supposed to use his whip to get the sword out of his attacker's hands, but the food poisoning he and the rest of the crew had gotten made him too sick to perform the stunt. After several unsuccessful tries, Ford suggested shooting the sucker. Steven Spielberg immediately took him up on the idea, and the scene was successfully filmed. 2. When Brody first goes to Indy's house to discuss the mission, Jones is dressed the way he is because he is entertaining a young woman in his bedroom. The script originally planned to show her before moving to the next scene, to give Indy a more worldly persona like James Bond. However, her appearance was cut as Steven Spielberg thought that being a playboy did not fit Indy's character. This also helps explain why several of the co-eds fawn over Jones, and why one girl wrote "love you" on her eyelids. 3. The spirit effects at the climax were achieved by shooting mannequins underwater in slow motion through a fuzzy lens to achieve an ethereal quality. Did you know for The Hobbit, the scale illusion was accomplished by placing Hobbit or dwarf actors and actresses farther away from the camera than Sir Ian McKellen in, but still live on the same set in the previous films. This time, however, the illusion had to be accomplished by having the other actors and actresses on a completely different set, while McKellen performed his part, all alone, on a green screen set, with only an earpiece connecting him to the performance being provided by the rest of the cast. McKellen ended up feeling lonely and frustrated. To cheer him up, the cast and crew snuck into the tent in which he stayed during breaks and decorated it with mementos from the Lord of the Rings films, as well as fresh fruit and flowers. 2. When asked how many wizards there are, Gandalf says there are 5, naming Saruman, Radagast, and himself, then saying he can't remember the names of the other 2, merely saying the 2 blues. Their names, Alatar and Palando, appear in the book Unfinished Tales, a collection of J.R.R. Tolkien ideas and half-manuscripts edited into book form by his son Christopher Tolkien. The filmmakers didn't have rights to use material from that book, so the 2 blue wizards remain unnamed in this movie. Did you know that for The Sixth Sense, according to Michael Cera, this was the first film that he ever auditioned for? He read for the part of Cole, and the scene he did was the magic trick scene, but he later admitted that he did it too cheerfully. He had not read the entire script, so he didn't know that Cole was supposed to be an introverted and quiet boy. 2. During the casting process for the role of Cole Sear, Shyamalan had been apprehensive about Osmond's video audition, saying later he was this really sweet cherub, kind of beautiful blonde boy. Shyamalan saw the role as darker and more brooding, but admitted that he nailed it with the vulnerability and the need, and that he was able to convey a need as a human being in a way that was amazing to see. 3. This was the first of 2 movies that Bruce Willis owed Disney, after he caused another production, The Broadway Brawler, to be shut down due to him firing the director. He also was paid $10 million, half of his usual salary at the time. 4. In M. Night Shyamalan's early drafts of the script, the Bruce Willis character was a crime scene photographer, not a child psychologist. Did you know for Monsters, Inc., it normally took 11 to 12 hours to render a single frame of Sully because of his 2.3 million animated hair strands? There can be 24 to 60 frames in a single second of film. 2. The restaurant that Mike and Celia are at is called Harryhausen's. This is an homage to Ray Harryhausen, the man who is one of the earliest practitioners of stop-motion photography and claymation, and made the stop-motion animation and now iconic monsters for films like Clash of the Titans. 3. When Sully greets Ted, the monster so big we only see the lower half of his body, Ted was originally supposed to roar like Godzilla. The filmmakers asked permission from Toho, Godzilla's film studio, to use a Godzilla roar, but Toho turned them down, so Ted responds with a chicken cluck instead. 4. The animators considered giving Sully tentacles instead of legs at one point, and glasses at another. However, they decided to use legs because they believed the audience would concentrate more on the tentacles than Sully's face. They also considered making Mike armless with only legs. Did you know for A Bronx Tale, the story, written by Chaz Palminteri, is adapted from his autobiographical one-man play? His real name is Calogero Lorenzo Palminteri. Several studios approached him to purchase the film rights, with at least one offering $1 million. But Palminteri refused to sell to them, unless he could write the screenplay and play the role of Sonny. None of the studios agreed as they wanted to hire another actor. Then, Robert De Niro offered to go into a 50-50 partnership, with all of Palminteri's conditions met, as long as De Niro could direct and play Lorenzo. Palminteri agreed, and their contract was sealed on a handshake. 2. When Robert De Niro had trouble finding a suitable actor to portray Eddie Mush, he asked Chaz Palminteri if they could find the real Eddie Mush to play himself. They found Eddie Montanaro in the same neighborhood, still losing bets. After casting him, they became worried that Eddie Mush would jinx the film. On Montanaro's first day of filming, it rained. 3. Catherine Narducci brought her 9-year-old son to the open casting call to audition for the role of young Calogero. When she saw that the role of Calogero's mother was available, she asked if she could also audition and got the part.